almost fell short, came into top 3 in that wild card match. But here he is, Heatsy, Steelies, and Snag, who were kind of an underdog going in, overcoming their region in the heats, and they had the first place finish. And we have to keep an eye on this trio because they could, oh my goodness, the boat. Hello, that's a land speeder snipe right then and there from Heatsy, and they're vibing out right there. What a nice snipe. Woo! And they're just going to keep going. Might as well keep shooting. And now they're going to be on the reactionary tail to try to stabilize as much as possible. And they do have those moments, but their neighbors are dangerous. And another dangerous trio who tend to put really back-to-back strong, string-together performances is Tayson, Mitro, and Mongrel. And this is where they usually heat up at this part of the competition. They do really well, and they catch Milan. Milan, you just got beamed. He was walking out the front door, and he gets hit with the clown emote. Oh, my goodness. They're feeling it, Sundown. They're feeling it. The swag is on for Tayson, Mitro, and Mongrel.
Yeah, he's obviously never heard of closing the gosh darn door there. It's going to get him picked up and picked out of this competition. No problem there. As they're also, I was going to say, they might have been under a little bit of threat of storm surge. They were only about
kind of that haymaker of hit factor that Thomas HD has with that sniper. We already saw him that he kind of almost messed up Mongrel when he gets sniped at that height in game 2. They were able to recover from that, I believe, and it was just showing you how dangerous Thomas HD can be on the rest of the lobby.
Vidil just cleaned up Floki and Co. Those were full eliminations coming out. So Vidil making it off of his initial drop. It took him 3 games, but now they're going through and beginning to scythe the fields, collect the grain and the bounty, and the first one to fall is that second place team currently going down. But on the other side of that flick, Anaxa's swift revenge, and Vidil falls back to him. Some good pressure coming through, and this is when Flick does all of his work. We've talked about it time and time again, how Thomas and Anas are the strong ones, and Flick always seems to go down. Well, that's because he accounts for 75% of their eliminations in the pre-zone 5 phase. He's the one who's going through and taking those early box-to-box fights, and he might trade out, but it sets Thomas and Anas up to do more in the late game.
That doesn't mean the FNCS Trios competition is going to go on the break. We still got NA East, and we have that amazing wild card game coming through, and that's going to be fun. If you missed out on EU, check out the VOD reviews, check out all those awesomeness. It was crazy to see how it go back into the old school days of all being a victory royale. But here right now in the grand finals, it's about your elims, it's about your placements, and it's about the great consistency factor. And the question mark already, Wolfie, CRR, and Kenzo did not have that consistency in game 2. They took an early engagement and paid the price, and they're looking like the exact summer fringe as ADN Wolfies gets right in that box where the ADN pepper-fied. Just unbelievable. Wolfies just could just blaze it right in with those pepper power.
The pepper popped, gave him some plentiful points there, and it was ADN going down just outside of the range. A nice little body shot coming through as well onto another Train H trio there. That's Skype, Falconly, and Yagsuo. Going to be pushed back a little bit. However, the Wolfies Kinzel trio has 0, and I mean 0 excess shields. They have no minis, nothing to end up popping here, so it's going to be a little bit of a difficult fight. They're going to have to take somebody down very quickly and then either throw them back or get the insta finish. Storm Surge turns off there as we have 50 players remaining, and we're transitioning now into kind of that final mid-game circle. We'll have circle number 5, the half in, half out, and then it's all moving zones from there.
And this trio that we're watching here has 4 Elans, but look at the loadout here at the bottom, peppermints. That is the ability to have that pepper power, that instant movement speed, and that's going to give you a lot of movement and ability. We just saw an example of a Wolfies, and he was just able to surprise someone who just had an open edit, who didn't close that door in the backside, and they paid the price. So pay attention to that. They do have a shockwave as well. There's different ways to take height. Crash pads, bouncers. Yes, shockwaves is going to be the greatest way considering that they're so rare, but an old school ramp rush with a pepper is an option. We did see that as well from Giannis's trio, who did a old school 3 metal ramp rush and overtook it and did a lot of connections. Tayson, Mitro, or Mongrel are trying to connect their game 2 pop-off, and if they have back-to-back pop-offs here, that's going to be a big-time lead on the rest of the lobby, Sundown.
Yeah, they're going to be able to open up a huge lead, but right now a long distance pull and a lot of triangles between them and their destination. can see placement points about to start coming through as we have our top 18, but this is when Mongo can be the most dangerous coming through, and we talked about it right away. That's Pink catching the pump shot on the other side, and that's going to signal go for them as they're going to try and get high ground, make sure they box around this. They want to clean up this trio. Already sitting on 5 eliminations, another down coming through. Can that be 6 and 7? That's Flois who gets converted on. They're trying to find the space where the revive is going. You can see him sticking it just a little bit over there on the side. They're not quite able to find it yet. They should have identified. Now they was able to rebuild, and they're refocusing their fire. There goes Mongo to pick up the mats, and instead they're just going to regroup. So a little bit of caution coming through, but 6 points as well as the 2 for placements right now. So an 8-point performance from our Game 2 winners. Looking good.
And the feed Flick went down, and CRR got confirmed by Thomas HD. So just like clockwork, Flick going down first doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It's just that is what happens with that trio. We're taking a look at Sweeze picking up an Elam as well. So here it goes, the rotation here, and looking at it, they pull priority, but oh my goodness, Mongrel goes down. And we talked about the ultimate key that Mongrel is for Tayson and Mitro. Tayson and Mitro, who've done it before once, kind of capitalize and just return that favor, change the fate right then and there as Giannis goes down. Already big names are colliding so early here, and we're just getting into in-game. Zone 6 is going to go a little bit northeast here, and Andalix snagged right then and there with the big knock. He's going to get a moment to breathe and picks up Giannis, and it squeezes there for backup.
That was a monstrous fight there from Andalix, using the wall and the ramp reset to just barely win the fight, going through there, able to also save Giannis and can make sure that they don't have to end up utilizing any of their extra heals. Janice not necessarily having the best health, but up on top here, Sapphic, VP, Siberia, Jake, and Irazumi. You can actually see a crash pad taking him from top down, so they're going to opt for a little bit of pressure on the farther side. He's just going to connect the builds. They should be able to get on that crash pad and continue riding out the high ground and down coming through there onto not Hellfire. So he's going to be taken out. It looks like Pink was actually able to get picked up there as he's able to get the confirmation onto Falconly, and we're going to begin closing in on the moving zones and where you're going to see a lot more utility B-Force. They're not up necessarily high enough to control ultimate high, so anybody with a shockwave or even a bouncer crash pad combo could realistically pressure them. That's why they're trying to rain so many shots down on the secondary height right now.
Here it is. They're seeing the stronghold, and Thomas HT, who's always so dangerous to overtake, goes down. So that's going to be a big pickup, and that's going to be a huge way to maintain the height. If you take out those trios that tend to go for height late, go for those retakes, that's going to be a strong opportunity for you to walk away with the Victory Royale. Cybercade and Co are looking good right now as we're seeing that the elevations go down further. Now we see the great split in layers. Low ground, mid ground, and height. Mitro and Tayson using their big closer and Mongrel, who accrues so much of their eliminations at in-game. They're going to have to do it as a duo in a trio. We've seen it happen before, but Mitro and Mongrel and Tayson, they're going to have a strong opportunity to kind of get the string together those great games, but it's all up to Tayson and Mitro. And taking a look at their kit, it's looking really good, but the builds are suffering considering that they're on soft mats.
Yeah, they need to find a refresher, but the zone going back, and right as I say it, Mitro finds Uganza peeking out there. Yesterday it was Tayson going down early, and Mongo and Mitro who were able to just clutch it out for a huge W. You can see right now in the top right, Hen to set those and go trying to finish that. Actually now, as we switch to the 3-box, you have Andalex in our top right-hand corner there. Reese is pick in the bottom right-hand corner. Tayson, Mitro trying to come through, push forward, do their best on the low ground, and then on the wide, up on the high ground, Razumi, Sapphic, and Siberia Jake, but the challenge comes out. That's Hen going up Deceptos with him, but a little bit of separation going through. 2 bouncers used by Deceptos to go up. Patrick also lagging behind. That's the fight up on the high ground. Mitro in the lower right-hand corner, trying to find a little bit of space right now. Andalex also with the pepper going, has a really good layer and not contested, so we're just trying to see who's going to be able to continue the rotation as Dako lands directly on Tidal Lanouf's head. It's going to be able to find that one. The high ground fight still going out. It's crash pads and bounces galore as Hen hits 2, falls onto a layer, but it's still Patrick there. Deceptos finally goes down on the high ground of Siberia Jake, drops down to get the confirmation, but Razumi goes down to Hen, and Hen picks up 2 on the high ground. He's going to have the control there, but they're using so many of their resources that I don't think there's any possible way Hen's going to be able to ride this one out as Mitro picks up an Elim on the low ground, but Tayson goes out, and now Mitro goes up with the shockwave, crash pads himself back in, and now he's up on the high ground with a huge 100 into a 104, and Mitro in the bottom right-hand corner has sole control of high ground as a solo.
Oh my goodness, Mitro, you madman! You have height right now, and the world is your oyster. What an unbelievable play to take it! But it's now
no way!
And what? No way! With the big time knock, Mitro is cooking up here, and we're getting into the final moments. A top 2 situation. Andelix, Yanis, and Duck on top X Squeeze are going to have to hold down as Mitro does go down. This is a strong opportunity for this. They're in the top 3 so far in the leaderboard, and now they're going to look for a great victory royale. We're in the last moments, and down he goes. But what a great performance all around from Slick.
Andelix. You've got Janice, your FNCS Invitational Champion. You got X-Squeeze, aka Duck on top, holding down the fort.
We're going to need to see if they kind of catch that up. Moving on to our second page, our 6th to 10th place teams. Benji, Mr. Savage, and Lecce in 7th currently.